You see, nature has a very funny rule, a rule that we do not like very much. It says that you can scramble an egg, but you cannot unscramble it. You can turn a glass of wine into a spill on the rug, but you cannot turn the spill back into a glass of wine. There is a direction to things. There is a flow. And if you try to swim against that flow, you pay a price. People ask me, "Richard, what do you think about going to Mars?" And they show me these beautiful pictures, shot rockets landing on red soil, domes with lights inside, people growing potatoes. It looks wonderful. It looks like the next chapter in the great human story. But I have to stop them, because they are thinking about this like a geographer. They are looking at distance as if it is just miles, as if it is just space between here and there. But in physics, distance is not just space. Distance is a relationship between forces. And when you look at the forces involved in going to Mars, and more importantly, the forces involved in coming back, you realize something terrifying. It is not a stepping stone. It is a trapdoor. Not because the rocket breaks, not because the engine fails, not because we run out of money, because the passenger breaks, because you break. There are 3 traps waiting for you on Mars. The first one destroys your machines. The second one destroys your body. And the third one, the subtle one, the elegant one, destroys your identity. And by the time the third trap closes, you are not you anymore. Let me show you why. Let us start with the first trap, the trap that is waiting for you right on the surface. Let me tell you about the history of a grain of sand on Earth. It is a very violent history, but also a very smoothing one. On Earth, we have water, we have rain, we have oceans. For billions of years, every grain of sand has been tumbled around, washed, rolled back and forth by the waves. Back and forth, back and forth. Imagine a jagged piece of glass in a rock tumbler for 1,000 years. What comes out? A smooth marble, round, soft, worn down by billions of collisions until every sharp edge is gone. That is earth dust. It is friendly dust. You can rub it between your fingers and it feels like powder, like flour, harmless. But Mars is a dead world. There is no rain on Mars, no rivers, no oceans, no tectonic plates grinding and smoothing. The only thing that happens to the rocks on Mars is that they get hit, smashed by meteorites, cracked by thermal cycling, blistering days, freezing nights, over and over for 4 billion years. So when you look at a grain of Martian dust under a microscope, you do not see a marble. You see a shard. You see a knife. Edges so sharp they are almost 1 molecule thick. It is not dust. It is microscopic broken glass. And it gets worse. Because Mars is so dry, so completely devoid of moisture, that there is no humidity to conduct electricity away. These little shards pick up a charge. They become electrostatically charged, little magnets. They do not just sit on the ground. They levitate. The electric fields lift them up. They float in the air, and they stick to everything. Your suit, your helmet visor, your tools, your solar panels. Everything gets coated in this magnetic broken glass. And here is the part that NASA discovered. NASA's Mars missions found perchlorates, toxic salts, embedded in every grain. Not just sharp, poisonous. So this dust cuts you and poisons you at the same time. Now here is the real problem. You cannot bring all the fuel you need from Earth. That would require a rocket the size of the Empire State Building. The math simply does not work. So you have to make your fuel there. This is called in situ resource utilization. a fancy name for digging up stuff on Mars and turning it into rocket fuel. Mine the ice, suck the CO2 from the thin atmosphere, split it, recombine it, run pumps, compressors, bearings that spin at thousands of revolutions per minute. But here comes the dust, this magnetic broken glass. It gets into the bearings, harder than steel, sharper than a razor. It grinds them down, eats the metal, gets into the rubber seals and cuts them to ribbons. You try to wipe it off, but you cannot. It is magnetic. When you try to wipe, you just grind it deeper into the surface. So there you are, the greatest engineer in history. You have built this magnificent factory on Mars to make the fuel that will take you home. But the factory is destroying itself. The gears are seizing. The valves are leaking. The solar panels are covered in brown soot you cannot wash off because there is no water to wash with. Physics is fighting you, and you realize that the machine you built to get you home is dead. The arrow of time has already started. The dust is entropy's first weapon. But let us be optimistic. I like to be optimistic. Suppose you solve the dust problem. Suppose you build better seals, harder bearings. Suppose you make your fuel. Now we have to look at the second trap, and this one is not about the machine. This one is about the meat. This one is about you. Let me explain what radiation actually is. Radiation is just little bullets, tiny particles, protons, helium nuclei, heavy ions, moving very, very fast. How fast? Nearly the speed of light. Some of them have been traveling since a star exploded millions of years ago, halfway across the galaxy, and they are heading straight for you. On Earth, we are spoiled, incredibly lucky. We do not even know how lucky. We have two shields. The first is the magnetic field. Earth has a molten iron core that generates a massive magnetic bubble around the entire planet. When cosmic rays come screaming toward us, the magnetic field catches them and spirals them away to the poles. That is what makes the northern lights. Those beautiful green curtains in the sky. That is your shield working, catching bullets and turning them into art. The second shield is the atmosphere. A nice thick blanket of air, about 100 kilometers deep, roughly 62 miles. By the time a cosmic ray has punched through all those layers of air molecules, it has lost most of its energy. It is tired, weak, harmless. But between Earth and Mars, nothing. No magnetic field, no atmosphere, just vacuum. The sun is shooting protons at you. The rest of the galaxy is shooting heavy ions at you. Supernovae that exploded before Earth existed are still sending particles your way. When you are in that spaceship for 6 months going to Mars and 6 months coming back, you are standing in the middle of a firing squad with no wall to hide behind. ISS astronauts receive 150 times more radiation than on Earth, and they are still inside Earth's magnetic field. Mars transit? 300 times. Now let me tell you what happens when one of these particles hits you. When a high-energy cosmic ray comes screaming through your ship, it ignores the walls. Aluminum cannot stop it. It goes right through the hull, right through your skin, and crashes into your atoms. It hits the electrons in your molecules and knocks them flying. Imagine taking a bowling ball and throwing it at a house of cards. The structure collapses. The chemical bond is broken. This is ionization, and it is happening to your DNA. Now your body is amazing, a miracle machine. Inside every cell, little proteins run around looking for damage. They see broken DNA and tape it back together. Molecular repair crews. Usually they do a very good job. But on the trip to Mars, the damage is happening too fast. Too many bullets. Too many hits. It is like trying to fix a roof while a hurricane is blowing. The repair crews make mistakes. They tape the wrong pieces together. They patch it crooked. And what happens when DNA is repaired wrong? 3 things, and each one is worse than the last. Cancer, the slow killer. A cell forgets what it is supposed to be. The instructions get garbled. It thinks it is supposed to just grow and grow and grow. That is cancer. But that takes years. You might get lucky. You might not develop symptoms until you are back. Maybe brain damage, the fast killer. But your brain does not have that luxury. Neurons are different from other cells. Most cells in your body replace themselves. Skin, blood, gut lining. But neurons? Neurons do not replace. When a cosmic ray punches through a neuron, that neuron is damaged, maybe destroyed, and it does not grow back. Your brain is literally being Swiss cheesed. You start to lose cognitive function, forget things, get confused, react slower. Imagine trying to land a spaceship when you cannot remember which button does what, because the part of your brain that remembers buttons has been destroyed by a particle from a supernova 1,000 light-years away. That is not science fiction. That is measured. NASA has studied this. The cognitive decline is real. Kidney failure, the immediate killer. And then there are the kidneys. The kidneys are filters of the blood. Miles of tiny little tubes, delicate, precise, designed to filter toxins and keep your blood clean. Radiation hates these tubes, scars them, makes them stiff, blocks them. So there you are. You have survived the dust, made your fuel. You are halfway home. But your kidneys are failing. Your blood is full of toxins because the filters are broken. You need dialysis, a machine to clean your blood. But you do not have a hospital. You are in a tin can millions of miles from the nearest doctor. There is no ambulance coming, no emergency room. You die not because the ship failed. You die because the physics of the universe tore your biological machinery apart at the atomic level, bullet by bullet, particle by particle. But entropy is patient. It has a subtler weapon. But wait. It gets worse. There is a third trap. And this is the one that really keeps me up at night. Because the first 2 traps, dust and radiation, those are external. Those are things that attack you from the outside. You can at least imagine building a wall against them, a better seal, a thicker shield. But the third trap? The third trap is not something that attacks you. It is something that changes you. Let me show you. I want you to do something right now. Wherever you are, sitting, standing, lying down. Feel your weight. Feel the pressure of your body against the chair. Feel the pull downward, that heaviness in your legs, that slight compression in your spine. That is 1G. That is Earth pulling on every atom in your body with an acceleration of 9.8 meters per second squared, about 32 feet per second squared. You have felt this every second of every day since the moment you were born. You do not even notice it anymore. It is like the hum of a refrigerator, always there, always shaping you, and completely invisible. But here is the thing. Your body is not just sitting in gravity. Your body is a machine that was built by gravity. Think about your heart. Your heart is a pump. A beautiful, elegant pump about the size of your fist. It beats 100,000 times a day, pushing blood upward from your chest to your brain. Upward. against gravity. Every single beat. It has to be strong enough to fight 1 g, so over millions of years, evolution built a heart that is exactly strong enough to push blood up to your head against 9.8 meters per second squared of pull. Not stronger, not weaker. Exactly right. Now you go to Mars. Mars' gravity is 38% of Earth, only 3.7 meters per second squared, about 12 feet per second squared. Your heart says, wait, why am I working so hard? There is barely any gravity here. I do not need to pump this strongly. And your heart does what any efficient machine does. It downsizes. The muscle fibers thin out. The chambers shrink. The walls get weaker. Within months, your heart has remodeled itself for a world with 38% gravity. It is not broken. It is optimized for Mars. But it is no longer strong enough for Earth. Now think about your bones. Your skeleton is not a dead scaffold. It is alive. It is constantly being rebuilt. Every day, little cells called osteoclasts dissolve old bone, and other cells called osteoblasts build new bone. Think of it like a calcium bank, deposits and withdrawals. Every day. On Earth, gravity forces you to make deposits. Every step you take, every time you stand up, the stress on your bones tells the osteoblasts, build more, reinforce, we need this. But on Mars, with 38% gravity, the signal drops, the stress drops. The osteoblasts slow down. But the osteoclasts, the demolition crew, they do not slow down. They keep dissolving. More withdrawals than deposits. Your skeleton is dissolving, slowly, silently, month by month. You feel fine. You look fine. But inside, your bones are turning into chalk. We know this because of Scott Kelly. Scott Kelly spent 340 days on the International Space Station, not Mars, just the ISS orbiting Earth. Zero gravity, not even low gravity. When he came back, he could barely walk. His DNA had changed. His gene expression was different from his identical twin brother who stayed on Earth. 340 days. And he was wrecked. Mars means years, not months. So here is what happens. You live on Mars for 2 years, maybe 3. Your heart shrinks. Your bones dissolve. Your muscles atrophy. Your vestibular system, the inner ear that tells you which way is up, recalibrates for a world with 1/3 the gravity. Every system in your body quietly, efficiently, irreversibly adapts to Mars. You have not been injured. You have not been sick. You have been re-engineered. You have become a Martian. And now you try to come home. You survive the 6-month flight. You enter Earth's atmosphere. The capsule lands, the hatch opens, blue sky, salt air, birds singing. You try to stand up, and you collapse. Your heart, this shrunken Mars-optimized pump, tries to push blood up to your brain against 1 full G. It cannot. Too weak. The blood pools in your legs. Your vision goes dark. Your brain starves for oxygen. Your bones, this chalk skeleton, tries to support your full Earth weight. They snap. Multiple fractures, not from a fall, not from an impact, from standing up. You are being crushed, not by a rock, not by an enemy, by your home, by the planet that built you, because you are not you anymore. Mars did not break you. Mars remade you. And now the Earth that made the original version, the Earth that spent 4 billion years designing your biology, does not recognize what came back. This is not an engineering failure. This is not a budget problem. This is the arrow of time. Entropy does not just destroy your machines and your cells. It destroys your identity. On screen, heart shrinks, bones dissolve, DNA changes. You become a Martian. Earth crushes what Mars made. Now, you might be thinking, but we have technology. We have SpaceX. We have AI. We have the smartest engineers in the world. We will solve this. And I love that instinct. I really do. That is the best part of being human, the refusal to accept limits. But let me tell you what you are actually proposing. Remember the fish? The fish that evolved for water. Gills, fins, swim bladder. Every cell designed for one environment. You are saying, teach the fish to breathe air, not build a better tank, not carry water with you. You are saying, change the fish. Redesign 4 billion years of evolution so that a creature built for water can survive on land. And maybe you think the tank is good enough. Just bring the right equipment. Shields for radiation, supplements for bones, exercise machines for the heart. But the tank is leaky. Radiation gets in, through every wall, every shield, every suit. There is no material we have that stops galactic cosmic rays completely. Gravity leaks out. You cannot simulate 1G on Mars. The planet is what it is. 38%. Period. Dust gets in. Through every seal, every joint, every airlock. The tank is leaking from 3 directions at once. And you are trying to patch it with duct tape. You are fighting thermodynamics. You are fighting the second law. The law that says disorder always increases, complexity always decays, and the arrow of time always points one way, and thermodynamics does not lose. So, 3 traps. Dust grinds your machines to death. Radiation Swiss cheeses your biology. Gravity rewrites your identity. And technology cannot save you because the tank is always leaking. This brings us to the deepest point I want to make. In physics, we talk about isolated systems, a ball on a table, a gas in a box. We draw neat little boundaries and pretend the system is separate from everything else. But in reality, nothing is isolated. Nothing. And here is where most people make the fundamental mistake about Mars. They think of you as a separate thing, an individual, a human being who happens to live on planet Earth. And if you just move that human being to a different planet, like moving a chess piece to a different square, everything should work out fine. But you are not a chess piece. You are not separate from the Earth. You are part of the Earth. Think about this. The iron in your blood, the hemoglobin that carries oxygen to your brain right now, that iron was forged in the core of a dying star and delivered to Earth 4.5 billion years ago. The calcium in your bones came from ancient ocean floors. The water in your cells is the same water that has been cycling through rivers and clouds and oceans since before anything was alive. You are not on the Earth. You are of the Earth. You are an extrusion of the planet. Like a wave is an extrusion of the ocean. The wave is not separate from the water. It is the water, shaped by wind and gravity and temperature into a temporary form. Take the wave out of the ocean, and what do you have? A splash, and then nothing. That is you on Mars. A wave pulled out of the ocean, still made of water, still shaped like a wave, but no longer sustained by the thing that created you. The universe is always trying to bring you into equilibrium with your surroundings. On Earth, equilibrium means life. Your temperature matches. Your gravity matches. Your atmosphere matches. Everything is in balance. On Mars, equilibrium means death. Or at the very least, it means becoming something that can never come home. And here is what is beautiful about this. I know. I just spent 25 minutes telling you 3 terrible things: dust that grinds, radiation that shreds, gravity that traps. It sounds like the universe is punishing you for wanting to explore. But that is not what is happening. The same gravity that would crush you coming home is the gravity that built your bones. Every step you have ever taken, every time you stood up, gravity was sculpting your skeleton, strengthening your heart, training your balance. The same atmosphere that shields you from cosmic rays is the atmosphere that carries your voice to a friend, that carries the smell of rain, that carries music. The same magnetic field that deflects those lethal particles is the one that paints the northern lights across the Arctic sky. These are not walls keeping you in. These are arms holding you together. Every breath you take is a collaboration with a planet that spent 4.5 billion years preparing for you. 4.5 billion years of volcanoes and oceans and magnetic fields and atmospheric chemistry, all converging into this single, extraordinary moment where you can exist. That is not a limitation. That is a love story written in physics. The arrow of time that scrambles the egg, the same arrow that grinds the bearings, shreds the DNA, and dissolves the bones. That arrow also built everything you love about being alive. Every sunset, every heartbeat, every thought you have ever had. Entropy creates and entropy destroys. And right now, right here, on this pale blue dot, entropy is on your side. So when I see those plans for Mars colonization, when I see the timelines that say we will have 1 million people on Mars by 2050, I have to laugh. But it is a sad laugh, because they are not stupid people. They are brilliant people. Some of the most brilliant engineers and entrepreneurs in human history. And their ambition is magnificent. Their courage is real. But they are ignoring something fundamental. They are treating biology like software, like you can just patch it, upload a fix, rewrite the code. Oh, bone loss? We will make a drug for that. Radiation? We will build a thicker wall. Heart atrophy? Exercise program? Problem solved. But biology is not software. Biology is hardware. And it is hardware that took 4 billion years to develop for exactly one environment. This one. You cannot rewrite 4 billion years of engineering with a 10-year research program. You cannot override the second law of thermodynamics with a business plan. You cannot negotiate with entropy. You can respect it. You can understand it. You can work within it. But you cannot beat it. Now, does that mean we should not go? No, I am an explorer. I have always been an explorer. I believe in curiosity the way some people believe in gravity. It is a force that pulls you forward whether you want it to or not. We should go to Mars. We should send everything we can, but not us. We should send our eyes. We should send our ears. We should send our instruments. We should send robots. Robots are wonderful. They do not get cancer. Their bones do not dissolve. Their hearts do not shrink. They can sleep in the toxic Martian dust for 1,000 years and wake up and say hello. A robot does not need to come home. A robot does not have an identity that Mars can steal. A robot is not an extrusion of this planet. It is a tool, and tools can go where we cannot. Our eyes are already on Mars. Our hands are already on Mars. Curiosity, perseverance, ingenuity. We named our robots after the best parts of ourselves, and then we sent them into the dust so we would not have to go. That is not cowardice. That is wisdom. Because here is what I want you to understand. We are the children of Earth, and like all children, We can wander. We can explore. We can play in the backyard. We can look up at the stars and dream of distant places. But at the end of the day, we have to come home. And if we go too far, if we cross that dark ocean to that red dot, we might find that the door has locked behind us. We might find that we have become aliens on our own homeworld, strangers to the gravity that built us, foreigners to the air that fed us, incompatible with the planet that loved us for 4.5 billion years. So look at that pale blue dot, not with longing for somewhere else, not with restlessness, not with the itch to leave. Look at it with gratitude. That is where you belong. That is where the air is sweet and the gravity is just right, and the magnetic field wraps around you like a warm blanket at night. That is where the rain smooths the sand into powder so your children can play in it. Where the atmosphere is thick enough to carry laughter. Where the ozone catches the worst of the sun's fire and lets through just enough light to grow a garden. That is your home. The only home that fits. The only home that was built. Atom by atom, year by year, extinction by extinction, for you. Do not take it for granted. Because in the entire observable universe, 100 billion galaxies, in each with 100 billion stars, we have not found a single other place where the arrow of time built what it built here. A world where scrambled eggs become chickens, where stardust becomes bone, where physics becomes a person who can look up at the night sky and wonder. Here, the arrow of time built something extraordinary. You. If this changed how you see Mars, even a little bit, let me know in the comments. What surprised you most? The dust? The radiation? Or the fact that your own body would betray you? Subscribe if you want more physics explained the way Feynman would have explained it. No memorization, just understanding, and I'll see you in the next one.